Cops arrest Black woman for shoplifting. Unaware. She is an off-duty police captain. The Saturday afternoon sun poured through the massive skylights of Greenwood Mall, making the white marble floors shine like mirrors. Captain Denise Carter walked through the busy shopping center with a light feeling in her chest. After spending 5 straight days dealing with crime reports, budget meetings, and training new officers, she finally had a day to herself. Today was special because she was shopping for her niece Jasmine's 16th birthday present. Jasmine was more than just her niece. She was the daughter Denise never had, the bright light who reminded her why she became a police officer 20 years ago: to protect and serve, to make the world safer for young girls like Jasmine who deserved to grow up without fear. Denise touched the small photo in her wallet, Jasmine's bright smile beaming back at her, those same dimples that ran in their family. The mall was packed with weekend shoppers. Families pushed strollers filled with giggling babies. Groups of teenagers sat around the fountain, sharing fries and gossip. The smell of fresh pretzels mixed with perfume from the department stores. For a moment, Denise forgot about the stack of case files waiting on her desk. She forgot about the promotion ceremony next week where she would pin badges on 5 new officers. She forgot about everything except finding the perfect gift for the most important person in her life. She had been in the mall for exactly 8 minutes when everything changed. The feeling started as a tiny prickle at the back of her neck, that sixth sense every good cop develops after years on the job. Someone was watching her. Not the casual glance of a passerby, but the focused stare of surveillance. Denise pretended to look at a window display of summer dresses, but she was really watching the reflection in the glass. 2 security guards were following her, staying about 30 feet back. The taller one had a thick mustache and kept touching his radio. His name tag said Miller. The shorter one looked younger, maybe 25, with nervous eyes that kept darting around. His tag read Davis. Denise's stomach tightened into a hard knot. She had been shopping while black for 42 years. She knew this dance. She knew how it would go. They would follow her from store to store, pretending to check their phones or study mall maps. They would whisper into their radios, using code words they thought were clever. They would make her feel like a criminal for daring to shop in their mall with her brown skin. Part of her wanted to turn around right then, pull out her captain's badge, and watch their faces crumble. But she was tired of having to prove she belonged. Tired of having to show her credentials just to exist in peace. Today, she was not Captain Carter. Today, she was Aunt Denise, shopping for her niece's sweet 16. Miller's voice carried across the corridor, loud enough for her to hear every word. Copy that. Black female, brown leather bag, blue sweater, maintaining visual. The words hit her like ice water. They were not even trying to be subtle. They wanted her to know she was being watched. They wanted her to feel uncomfortable enough to leave. Denise's hands curled into tight fists, her nails digging into her palms. That leather purse they were so suspicious of had taken her 3 months to save for. She had bought it as a gift to herself after solving the Henderson murder case, the one nobody thought would ever be closed. Now these guards looked at her nice purse and saw a thief. They looked at her pressed clothes and neat hair and still saw a criminal. The anger burned in her chest, but she pushed it down. She would not let them win. She would not let them ruin Jasmine's special day. Taking a deep breath that filled her lungs completely, she walked into Crystal's boutique, one of the most expensive stores in the mall. If they wanted to follow her, she would make them work for it. The store smelled like expensive perfume and money. Soft jazz floated through hidden speakers, and every surface seemed to sparkle under the carefully placed lights. Behind the main counter stood a woman in her 50s with blonde hair pulled into a tight bun. Her name tag said Linda, manager. The moment Denise stepped through the door, Linda's face changed. Her professional smile flickered and died like a candle in the wind. Her eyes went hard and cold, tracking Denise's every movement like a hawk watching a mouse. "Can I help you?" Linda's voice was sharp as broken glass, each word clipped and unfriendly. The question was not really a question. It was a challenge. It was asking, "What are you doing here?" Denise kept her voice smooth and pleasant, though her heart was beating so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. "Just browsing, thanks. Looking for a birthday gift." She moved toward a display case filled with delicate charm bracelets, exactly the kind Jasmine had been dropping hints about for months. Her niece had shown her pictures on her phone, circling the ones she loved most with little heart emojis. Through the spotless glass, Denise could see Linda's reflection following her every move. Outside the store, Miller and Davis had stationed themselves by the entrance, pretending to read a mall directory they were holding upside down. The security guards were not even good at their job. If they were real cops under her command, she would have them back in training within the hour. "These cases are all locked," Linda announced, appearing at Denise's elbow like a ghost. "Nothing can be removed without staff assistance. Store policy." The way she said store policy made it sound like a weapon. Denise nodded calmly, though inside she wanted to scream. "I understand. When I'm ready to look at something, I'll let you know." But Linda did not move away. Instead, she stood so close that Denise could smell her coffee breath and see the small stain on her blazer collar. Her eyes kept moving between Denise's face and her purse, as if she expected stolen diamonds to come tumbling out at any moment. The beautiful leather purse that Denise had been so proud of now felt like it was burning against her side. She thought about her mother, who had taught her to always dress well and carry herself with dignity. "They already think the worst of us," her mother used to say. "So we have to be twice as good, twice as clean, twice as proper. And even then, sometimes it's not enough." Today, it was not enough. Despite her pressed clothes, her neat appearance, her polite manner, she was still just another black woman who needed to be watched. "Actually," Denise said, straightening her spine and looking Linda directly in the eye, "I'd like to see that silver bracelet with the butterfly charm. The one in the third row." Linda hesitated, her hand hovering over the keys attached to her belt. For a moment, Denise thought she might refuse. Then, moving like each step hurt, Linda unlocked the case and pulled out the bracelet. It was perfect. The silver links caught the light and threw tiny rainbows on the wall. The butterfly charm had small crystals on its wings that sparkled like real diamonds. Denise could already picture Jasmine's face when she opened the box, the way her eyes would go wide and then fill with happy tears. The way she would throw her arms around Denise's neck and whisper, "Thank you, Auntie," in that special voice she saved for moments when words were not enough. The bracelet cost $300, but it was worth every penny to see that joy on Jasmine's face. "I'll take it," Denise began, reaching for her wallet. But before she could finish the sentence, Linda's voice cut through the air like a knife. "Excuse me, I need to see inside your bag." The boutique went completely silent. Even the jazz music seemed to pause, holding its breath. Every customer in the store turned to stare. A young couple near the earrings stopped mid-conversation. An older woman, trying on a necklace, froze with her hand at her throat. Everyone was looking at Denise, waiting to see what the suspicious black woman would do. Heat flooded Denise's face, starting at her neck and spreading up to her hairline. She could feel sweat forming on her forehead despite the air conditioning. "Excuse me?" She kept her voice low and controlled, using the same tone she used in interrogation rooms when suspects were being difficult. "I said I need to see inside your bag," Linda repeated, louder this time. Her confidence was growing now that Miller and Davis had entered the store, their hands resting on their radios like cops ready to call for backup. "A piece of jewelry is missing from this case. I saw you slip something into your purse." The lie was so bold, so shameless that for a moment Denise could not speak. She had not touched anything except the bracelet Linda had just shown her. There were security cameras in every corner of this store that would prove her innocence. But Linda did not care about proof. She had decided Denise was guilty the moment she walked through the door. "That's absolutely false," Denise said, her voice growing stronger. "I haven't touched anything except the bracelet you just handed me. You've been watching me since I entered. You know I haven't taken anything." Miller stepped forward, using his height to try to intimidate her. He was maybe 6'2", with broad shoulders and hands like ham hocks. The kind of guy who had probably played football in high school and never got over his glory days. "Ma'am, please cooperate. Empty your bag on the counter. Let's make this easy." Easy. The word made Denise want to laugh. When had anything ever been easy for a black woman in America? When had she ever been given the benefit of the doubt? When had her word ever been enough? She thought about all the times she had been followed in stores. All the times. She had been asked for additional ID all the time she had been treated like a criminal for existing in her own skin. She thought about how she had worked twice as hard as her white colleagues to earn her captain's badge, how she had solved cases they said were impossible, how she had never given up even when the whole world seemed against her. And still, here she was, being accused of shoplifting by people who saw her skin before they saw her soul. "I will not," Denise said, drawing herself up to her full height of 5'8". "I haven't stolen anything, and you have no right to search my personal property without probable cause. That's the law." Davis shifted nervously behind his partner, his young face showing doubt. He seemed to realize something was off about this situation, but he was too junior to speak up. Linda's face had turned an ugly red color, like a tomato left too long in the sun, but she was not backing down. "Either show us what's in your bag or we're calling the real police," Linda said, emphasizing the word real as if these mall security guards were anything more than wannabe cops. "This is harassment," Denise stated firmly, her police training taking over. "You've been following me since I entered this mall. You're targeting me because I'm black, and I will not submit to this humiliation. If you want to call the police, go ahead. I'll wait right here." Miller moved even closer, close enough that she could smell his cheap cologne mixing with sweat. "Last chance, lady. Open the bag or things get complicated." The threat hung in the air like smoke. Denise knew what complicated meant. It meant they would try to physically restrain her. It meant they would put their hands on her. It meant they would escalate this situation until someone got hurt, and that someone would probably be her. But she had not survived 20 years as a black woman in law enforcement by backing down from bullies. "I'm not opening anything," she said, her voice carrying the authority of 2 decades wearing a badge. "You have no right, no probable cause, and no legal standing. If you touch me, that's assault. If you detain me, that's false imprisonment. I know my rights." Miller's face darkened. He reached for his radio, pressing the button hard enough his knuckle went white. "This is Miller. We need police assistance at Crystal's boutique. We have a hostile individual refusing to cooperate with loss prevention procedures." Within minutes, the situation had spiraled completely out of control. 2 police officers arrived, their faces already set in hard lines before they even heard the story. The older one, Officer James Raines according to his badge, had the swagger of someone who enjoyed his power a little too much. His younger partner, Officer Tommy Chen, looked uncertain but followed Raines' lead. A crowd had gathered outside the store, phones out, recording everything. Denise could hear their whispers, feel their judgment. Some thought she was guilty. Others shook their heads at another case of shopping while black. But none of them stepped forward to help. None of them said this is wrong. They just watched and recorded, turning her humiliation into content for their social media feeds. "What seems to be the problem here?" Raines asked, but he was not looking at Linda or the security guards. His eyes were fixed on Denise, already convinced of her guilt. Linda launched into her story, adding details that had not happened, painting Denise as aggressive and suspicious from the moment she entered the store. "She's been acting nervous, trying to avoid cameras, and I saw her put something in her bag. When I asked to verify she hadn't taken anything, she became hostile and refused to cooperate." Each lie was another nail in a coffin Linda was building. Denise tried to interrupt to tell her side, but Raines held up his hand to silence her. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to calm down and show us what's in your bag. We can do this the easy way or the hard way." The easy way or the hard way. As if there had ever been an easy way for people like her. As if the system had ever been designed to protect rather than prosecute black bodies. Denise felt tears building behind her eyes, but she would not let them fall. She would not give them the satisfaction of seeing her cry. "Officer, I haven't taken anything. This is racial profiling, pure and simple. They've been following me since I entered the mall. Check the security footage if you don't believe me." Raines sighed like he was dealing with a child. "Look, lady, just show us the bag and you can go. You're making this harder than it needs to be." "I'm not showing you anything without a warrant," Denise said. "That's my constitutional right." Raines' face went hard. "All right, we're done playing games. Turn around and put your hands behind your back." The words hit Denise like a physical blow. After 20 years of putting cuffs on criminals, She was about to feel them on her own wrists. The irony was so bitter she could taste it. "You're arresting me." "For what? What's the charge?" "Suspected shoplifting and refusing to cooperate with a legal investigation," Raines said, pulling out his handcuffs. They caught the light, silver and cold. "Now turn around." Denise looked at the crowd, at their faces ranging from sympathy to satisfaction. She looked at Linda's smug smile and Miller's satisfied nod. She looked at young Davis, who would not meet her eyes, and at Officer Chen, who seemed uncomfortable but said nothing. She had a choice to make. She could reveal she was a police captain right now and watch them scramble. Or she could let this play out and expose the entire rotten system. "Officer Raines," she said calmly, "you're making a terrible mistake. But I'll comply. I want everyone here to witness that I'm cooperating fully." She turned around slowly, with dignity, and placed her hands behind her back. The cuffs were cold against her wrists, tighter than they needed to be. Raines made sure of that, giving them an extra squeeze that made the metal dig into her skin. As he patted her down, his hands rough and invasive, Denise kept her head high. She thought about every young black person who had been in this position without the protection of a badge waiting in their wallet. She thought about every mother who had to explain to their children why they needed to be extra careful in stores. She thought about Jasmine, and what she would say when she heard her aunt had been arrested for shopping while black. "Check her bag," Raines told Chen. The younger officer hesitated, then opened Denise's purse. He pulled out her wallet, a pack of gum, her phone, her keys, a small notebook, and lipstick. No stolen jewelry. No merchandise of any kind. Nothing but the ordinary contents of an ordinary purse carried by an extraordinary woman they had chosen to see as a criminal. "There's nothing here," Chen said quietly. "Check again," Linda insisted, her voice getting shrill. "Check the lining." Maybe she hid it. Chen dutifully checked every pocket, even unzipping the lining. Still nothing. The silence that followed was deafening. The crowd murmured, phones still recording. Someone said loud enough for everyone to hear, "They arrested her for nothing. This is wrong." But Raines was not ready to admit his mistake. "We'll continue this at the station. Maybe you ditched it somewhere else in the mall." He started leading Denise toward the exit, her hands still cuffed behind her back. That was when she decided enough was enough. "Officer Chen," she said, her voice carrying the authority she had earned through 2 decades of service. "In my wallet, behind my driver's license, you'll find my police identification. I'm Captain Denise Carter of the 15th Precinct. I'm Officer Raines' superior officer." Chen's face went white as paper. With shaking hands, he found the ID and held it up. The badge gleamed gold in the light, the word "Captain" clearly visible. Raines spun around so fast he almost tripped. That's not possible." "Oh, it's very possible," Denise said. "I'm off duty, shopping for my niece's birthday present, and you've just violated about 6 different protocols, not to mention my civil rights. Uncuff me immediately." Raines' hands shook as he fumbled for his keys. The cuffs fell away, and Denise rubbed her wrists where red marks had already formed. She turned to face them all. Linda, Miller, Davis, Raines, Chen, and the crowd of onlookers. The silence was so complete you could hear the fountain splashing in the distance. "I want everyone here to understand something," Denise began, her voice strong and clear. "I could have shown my badge the moment this started. I could have avoided this entire humiliation. But I wanted you to see what happens when you judge someone by the color of their skin instead of the content of their character. I wanted you to see how quickly suspicion turns to accusation, how easily accusation turns to arrest, how a simple shopping trip becomes a criminal case when your skin is the wrong shade." She looked directly at Linda, who had gone pale and was backing toward the counter. "You accused me of stealing jewelry that was never missing. You lied to the police. That's filing a false report, a crime punishable by up to 6 months in jail." Then she turned to Miller and Davis. "You two followed me from the moment I entered this mall. You announced over your radios that you were watching a black female as if my race was relevant to my shopping. That's racial profiling." Finally, she faced Raines, who looked like he wanted the floor to open and swallow him. "Officer Raines, you arrested me without probable cause. You ignored my rights. You used excessive force with the handcuffs. You didn't even ask to see the security footage that would have proven my innocence. You saw a black woman and assumed guilt. That's not police work. That's prejudice with a badge. The crowd was growing larger now, people drawn by the drama. Someone started clapping slowly, then others joined in. But Denise held up her hand for silence. I don't want applause. I want change. I want you all to remember this moment the next time you see someone being followed in a store because of their skin color. I want you to speak up. I want you to ask questions. I want you to be better than what I experienced today. She pulled out her phone and called the precinct. This is Captain Carter. I need internal affairs at Greenwood Mall immediately. We have a situation involving racial profiling, false arrest, and violation of civil rights. Yes, I'm the victim. No, this isn't a joke. Within an hour, the mall was swarming with police brass and internal affairs investigators. The security footage was pulled, confirming everything Denise had said. She had never touched any jewelry except the piece Linda had shown her. The cameras also caught Linda whispering to Miller before he started following Denise, proving the profiling was coordinated. The district attorney herself arrived, a stern woman named Patricia Williams who happened to be one of Denise's longtime friends. Denise, I'm so sorry this happened to you, Patricia said, pulling her aside. We can charge Linda with filing a false report and the mall with systematic discrimination. Their security logs show a pattern of targeting black shoppers. This could be a major civil rights case. Denise nodded slowly. I want more than just charges, Pat. I want real change. I want training programs. I want accountability. I want them to feel what it's like to be judged before you even open your mouth. As the investigation continued, Officer Raines tried to approach Denise. His swagger was gone, replaced by something that might have been shame if he was capable of it. Captain Carter, I didn't know. If I had known who you were— That's exactly the problem, Denise cut him off. You should have treated me with respect regardless of who I am. Whether I'm a captain or a teacher or unemployed, I deserved to be treated as innocent until proven guilty. That's not just the law, Officer Raines. That's basic human decency. Raines opened his mouth to respond, but Denise was not finished. You've been on the force for how long? 8 years? And in all that time, you never learned to look beyond skin color. You never learned to question assumptions. You never learned that the badge we wear means protecting everyone, not just the people who look like you. I'm sorry, Raines said, the words seeming to physically hurt him. I'll do better. You'll do more than better, Denise replied. You'll be retrained from the ground up. And if I ever hear of you treating anyone this way again, badge or no badge, you'll be looking for a new career. Is that understood? Yes, Captain. His voice was barely a whisper. Officer Chen approached next, his young face full of genuine remorse. Captain Carter, I should have spoken up. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to contradict my senior partner. I failed you, and I failed the badge. Denise studied him for a moment. He was young, maybe 26, with honest eyes and real shame on his face. Officer Chen, you did fail today, but failure can be a teacher if you let it. I'm assigning you to sensitivity training. And then you're going to spend 3 months working with our community outreach program. You're going to learn what it means to serve all communities, not just some. Can you handle that? Chen straightened up, hope flickering in his eyes. Yes, Captain. Thank you for the second chance. Don't thank me. Earn it. As Chen walked away, Linda was being led out in handcuffs, the irony not lost on anyone. She had tried to have Denise arrested, and now she was the one facing charges. Miller and Davis had both been fired on the spot by mall management, who were desperately trying to control the public relations disaster. The story had already gone viral, with videos spreading across social media faster than wildfire. By evening, it would be on the national news. The mall manager, a nervous man named Robert Thompson, approached Denise with sweat beading on his forehead. Captain Carter, on behalf of Greenwood Mall, I want to apologize profusely. This is not who we are. This is not what we stand for. We'll be implementing new training immediately and revising all our security protocols. It's a start, Denise said. But I want more. I want every security guard trained in unconscious bias. I want clear protocols that prevent profiling. I want accountability measures that actually have teeth. And I want it all in writing, with penalties if you fail to comply." Thompson nodded eagerly. "Of course, anything you want. And please, select anything from any store as our way of apologizing." Denise almost laughed. "I don't want your gifts, Mr. Thompson. I want your promise that no other black person will go through what I experienced today. Can you give me that?" "I'll do everything in my power," Thompson said. "Good, because I'll be watching. And next time, I might not be so understanding." As the chaos continued around her, Denise felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to find Chief of Police Marcus Washington, her mentor and friend. He was a tall black man with gray temples and kind eyes that had seen too much. "Denise, I heard what happened. I'm furious. Are you okay?" For the first time since the ordeal began, Denise felt her composure crack. Tears welled up in her eyes as the full weight of the humiliation hit her. "They cuffed me, Marcus. 20 years on the force, and they put me in handcuffs like a common criminal. All because of this." She touched her brown skin. "All because they couldn't see past this." Marcus pulled her into a hug, right there in the middle of the mall, not caring who saw. "I know, Denise, I know. It's not right, and it's not fair. But what you did today, standing up to them, letting it play out to expose the truth, that took incredible courage. You've started something here. This is going to lead to real change?" "I hope so," Denise whispered. "I really hope so. Because I keep thinking about all the people who don't have a badge to protect them. All the people who get arrested and no one believes them. All the Jasmines of the world who are growing up in a system that sees them as suspects first and humans second." They stood there for a moment, two black police officers who had dedicated their lives to justice, both knowing how much work still needed to be done. Finally, Marcus pulled back and looked her in the eye. "What do you need from me? Name it, and it's yours. I need you to make sure Raines faces real consequences. I need you to ensure this training actually happens. And I need you to help me turn this into something bigger, a citywide initiative on racial profiling. Can you do that?" Marcus smiled. "Consider it done. We'll call it the Carter Initiative. Every officer in the city will go through it." As the day wore on and the investigation continued, Denise finally had a moment to check her phone. She had dozens of missed calls and texts, but one stood out. It was from Jasmine. "Auntie, I saw the video online. Are you okay? I'm so proud of you for standing up to them. You're my hero. I love you." Denise smiled through her tears and typed back, "I love you too, baby girl. I'm okay, and I still owe you a birthday present." "Just having you as my aunt is present enough," Jasmine replied, adding a heart emoji. Later that evening, after giving her statement and filling out countless forms, Denise finally made it back to Crystal's boutique. The store was empty except for a young black woman behind the counter, a temporary replacement for Linda. "Can I help you?" the woman asked, then recognized Denise from the news. "Oh my God, you're Captain Carter. What you did today. Thank you. Just thank you. I just want to buy a bracelet for my niece," Denise said simply. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "Please, let me, no charge. It's the least we can do." Denise shook her head. "I appreciate that, but I'll pay. I came here as a customer, and that's what I'll be." She selected the butterfly bracelet, the one that had started it all, and paid full price. As the woman wrapped it in a beautiful box with a silver ribbon, she said, "My daughter is 15. She saw the video and said she wants to be like you when she grows up, a police officer who stands up for what's right. Tell her it's not an easy path," Denise said, "but it's worth it. Every hard day, every challenge, every moment of doubt, it's all worth it if you can make even a small difference." Walking out of the mall, Denise noticed things had already changed. Security guards were keeping their distance from shoppers, their radios silent. Store employees were being extra welcoming to everyone. It was probably temporary, born of fear rather than genuine change, but it was something. As she reached her car, Denise saw a young black family walking toward the mall entrance. The mother was holding her daughter's hand tightly, the same protective grip Denise's mother had used all those years ago. the same grip born of fear and necessity. "Excuse me," the woman called out. "Are you Captain Carter?" Denise nodded. "Thank you," the woman said simply. "Thank you for what you did. Maybe my daughter won't have to go through the same thing." "That's the hope," Denise replied. "That's always been the hope." As she drove home, Denise thought about the long road ahead. One incident, even one that went viral, would not solve systemic racism. It would not erase centuries of prejudice or instantly change hearts and minds. But it was a start. It was a crack in the wall, a moment of truth that could not be ignored or explained away. That evening, Jasmine's birthday party was in full swing when Denise arrived. The backyard was decorated with lights and balloons, filled with teenagers laughing and dancing. Jasmine ran over and threw her arms around Denise. "Auntie! I was worried you wouldn't make it." "I wouldn't miss this for the world," Denise said, handing her the wrapped box. Jasmine opened it carefully, gasping when she saw the butterfly bracelet. But instead of putting it on immediately, she looked at Denise with wise eyes that seemed older than her 16 years. "Is this the bracelet? The one from the store?" Denise nodded. "How did you know?" "Mom told me. She said you went through something terrible to get it." Jasmine fastened the bracelet around her wrist, the butterfly catching the light from the party decorations. "I'll wear it every day. And every time someone asks about it, I'll tell them the story. I'll tell them about my aunt who stood up to injustice, who refused to be silenced, who turned her pain into purpose." "You don't have to do that, baby," Denise said softly. "Yes, I do. Because that's how change happens, right? One story at a time, one person at a time, one brave act at a time." Denise pulled her niece close, breathing in the smell of her coconut shampoo, feeling the warmth of her young body full of hope and possibility. "You're right, Jasmine. That's exactly how change happens." As the party continued around them, with music playing and laughter filling the air, Denise thought about her mother's words again. "They already think the worst of us, so we have to be twice as good. But maybe, just maybe, the next generation would not have to be twice as good just to be seen as equal. Maybe Jasmine and her friends could just be themselves, free to shop and walk and exist without fear or suspicion. Maybe the video of today's incident, already viewed millions of times, would open eyes and change minds. Maybe Officer Chen would become the kind of cop who stood up against profiling. Maybe the training programs would actually work. Maybe this moment of pain could become a catalyst for progress." The next morning, Denise was at her desk early, despite having barely slept. The phone had not stopped ringing with interview requests from news stations, offers from lawyers wanting to represent her in a civil suit, and messages of support from fellow officers around the country. But she had work to do. Real work. The kind that happened every day without fanfare or viral videos. "Captain Carter?" Officer Chen stood in her doorway looking nervous. "I wanted to apologize again and ask if I could speak with you." "Come in, Chen. Sit down." Chen sat on the edge of the chair, his back straight. "I couldn't sleep last night. I kept thinking about what you said, about failing the badge. My father was a cop, and he always told me the job was about protecting people. All people. Yesterday, I forgot that." "We all forget sometimes," Denise said. "The important thing is what you do next. Are you ready to learn?" Chen nodded eagerly. "I want to be better. I want to be the kind of cop who makes a difference, not one who makes things worse." "Then let's start today. I'm going to pair you with Officer Williams from Community Outreach. She'll teach you what policing really means. It's not about power or control. It's about service and protection. It's about seeing the humanity in everyone, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." As Chen left her office, Denise turned to the stack of papers on her desk. Incident reports, training proposals, and policy recommendations. The real work of change was not glamorous. It was meetings and paperwork and long hours of negotiation. It was changing minds one policy at a time, one training session at a time, one conversation at a time. A knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. Chief Washington entered with a smile. "So, our local celebrity is hard at work already. The mayor wants to meet with you." The governor's office called. Even the Justice Department is interested in your case. I don't want to be a celebrity, Marcus. I just want things to change. They will, Denise. Your story has struck a nerve. People are sharing their own experiences. Other cities are calling, asking about our training programs. You've started something bigger than you know. Have you seen the comments online? Denise asked. Half the people think I'm a hero. The other half think I'm making trouble, playing the race card, being too sensitive. Marcus sat down across from her. That's how change always works. It's messy and controversial and painful, but it's necessary. And you, Denise Carter, have made it impossible to ignore. Over the next few weeks, the changes came fast. The mall implemented new policies and training programs. Officer Raines was suspended pending a full investigation. Linda was charged with filing a false report and banned from working retail. The security company that employed Miller and Davis lost their contract with the mall. But more importantly, conversations were happening. Difficult, uncomfortable conversations about race and prejudice and privilege. Parents were talking to their children about bias. Police departments were examining their training. Stores were reconsidering their loss prevention policies. And through it all, Denise kept working. She developed a comprehensive training program that was adopted citywide.